G'day everyone, the Global Surveyor. It's live, 9 p.m, 23rd of January, 23rd of December 2024. I'm getting my months mixed up. And we're just doing a live stream. If you're not watching this will be on a replay, and have a few things to cover tonight. So we're just going to wait for a few people to hop on board and before we get started. So just make sure that you, if you'd like to make a comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you check out some of our great videos that we've got up there. This will be the last live that I make for the year, I think. So excited to have you on board and excited to have you here tonight. Make sure you leave a question if you've got something to say. Let me know where you're coming from. If you've got any questions, any ideas about videos, that would be great. If you're just coming in, g'day. I'm the Global Surveyor here on YouTube. Let me know where you're watching from, whether you're a surveyor or not. And if you've got any questions survey related or any video ideas, I would love to hear them. And if I happen to make that video, I'll be happy to. We might be having some connection issues, I don't know. Just see, oh no, I think we're back. We're back. Why did the surveyor bring a pencil to the party, Mickey? I'm not sure. And hi, Omar. Thanks for tuning in. Very good, very good. Well, I'd like to draw. Looks like I'm drawing a bit of attention to the live stream. 18 people, which is great. It's just a question about land surveying. If you've got any questions you may have about land surveying on my channel, or if you've got any video ideas that you might like to see next year, and if I happen to make a video and it's your idea, based on your idea, I'll be happy to give you a plug in the video. So apologise if we're having live stream issues here. Okay. I'll just wait for a few more people to join the live stream, and then if you've got any questions about land surveying or you want to discuss something, I'd be happy to have a chat about it. Their jokes are always too measured, very funny. I'm going to keep I think I like this idea of surveying related jokes. It's quite a good thing. I'm going to write that one down. I'm going to write down Anything I think is worth writing down. Surveying related jokes. I've got a few things here actually written down that I'd like to share tonight. We'll just wait for a few more people to join the stream. Hi Mark, thanks for tuning in. That's actually one thing I've got written down on my little list to discuss tonight. I could probably put that up now in terms of the program I use. I use a program called MiniCAD, and it's written by a surveyor in Sydney. I'm just going to put that up now. There's a link to the website, and it is a really good program. It's very simple and it's very basic. It's not mini in the word mini because there's quite a few CAD related features on there, especially for surveyors, where you can download all your information from your survey controller, and then you use this program to basically, well, 99% of the time in the field, most of your data is already joined up, like it's already drawn for you, and you just use this program to maybe do a few calculations and draw up property boundaries and various things like that. So I use that program for my basic survey related features. The great thing about MiniCAD is it, believe it or not, I'll put the price in here, and you can find this out on the website. But the cost is unbelievable, $75 per year. Sort of a yearly license, $75 a year. It's so cheap, as in affordable, and such great value for money. So highly recommend checking that program out, and that's written by a surveyor in Sydney called Ian Idale, and yeah, fantastic thing. So I use that primarily for all my survey related calculations. I do have a trusty, as you probably have seen on some videos, my Hewlett-Packard calculator. Has a few programs in there that I use to do my basic maths, survey related calculations in the field. And so I'm using that, and for drafting I'm using, and I'll put it out there right now, I'm not actually getting any, I don't get any sort of kickback for promoting these products or this software, but I used to use AutoCAD, but now I'm using BricsCAD. And BricsCAD, I was able to buy a perpetual license as opposed to paying $1,500 per year. So, $1,500 every 3 years for an AutoCAD license versus $850 BricsCAD perpetual license that I got in 2023. So, I mean, I could update the program if I want to. So, yeah, so that's the sort of survey software I'm using at the moment. Yeah, well, that's why I chose BricsCAD, because perpetual license, it was on offer. And so it was BricsCAD Lite, and I was just trying to find a link to that. Here's a link here. There we go. Again, I'm not I'm not getting any kickback from that. That's straight to BricsCAD. I bought my license through a software company in Melbourne. I'm based in Sydney, but I believe CR Kennedy, who promote Leica, there's Leica there, and they're Australia-wide. They're selling the BricsCAD license now, so that combined with the MiniCAD, it's a no-brainer for me. It's just excellent value. Jared Flavel, love your vids. Do you work solo or work for a company? Thanks, Jared. I actually work for myself. I used to work for a surveyor in Sydney for 23 years, believe it or not. I started back in the mid-90s and as a surveyor's assistant, and didn't really know much about surveying at all, and started drawing plans for him and thought it was a pretty cool job. And then after 4 years, I did my started a surveying degree at the Uni of Southern Queensland and did that for 10 years by correspondence and working full time. So yeah. So I work for myself now after working for this other surveyor for so long. He retired, and it was a good opportunity for me to go out on my own, and it gives me a lot more flexibility to do things. I don't think if I was working for someone, I don't think I'd have that flexibility to go out and make YouTube videos like the ones you see. You know, I just wouldn't have, you know, they'd be so structured and regimental there. You know, I'd have to just go do the job, come home. I wouldn't have, a lot of the time when I'm making these videos, I'm out there and I'm not actually, well, I am doing the job, but I'm doing it, taking a lot longer to do it because I'm, you know, using my time to make an interesting video along the way. So that's what I do. Yeah, take a look at BricsCAD, Mark. It's really good, and I when I got the software, it looks exactly like AutoCAD, and I'd been using AutoCAD for years, and I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to get all the routines and the setup exactly the way I want it. But I can't post a picture of BricsCAD on the live stream, but if you go to the link I put there, you'll see that it looks exactly like AutoCAD, and the videos are quite good, and yeah, I highly recommend it. So I don't know if we've got any surveyors out there who could be using Leica survey gear, and especially the Leica GS18. And I'll remind the viewers later on about this again. This is the Leica GS18 GPS receiver. They've got a GS05 that Leica's just released, a GS05. One of the things I've got written down here to remind people is that and I'll post a link here. I'll post a bit of a blurb that oops. Maybe I can't. Hang on. I will try again. Basically, I'll do that. This should work. So, firstly, do I do any scanning? No, I don't, Mickey. I don't have the software. Well, I don't have the hardware to do the scanning, and the scanners, the handheld scanners, like the Leica BLK 360 to go, I think it is. They're still frightfully expensive, you know. They're like $80,000 for a tiny little bullet thing, handheld scanner, you know. So I don't have the dollars for that yet. maybe if I make a fortune out of YouTube one day, I might have some dollars to buy it. And I do promote Leica, a lot of Leica gear, but I don't get any kickbacks from Leica. So, what I was going to say is this GPS here has tilt compensation. So, you know, you got it on the pole and you can lean it in all directions and it corrects the tilt. Well, starting the 1st of January 2025, the tilt's not going to work unless you update the firmware, and depending on what version of Captivate you're working on, Leica Captivate is the software that drives the GPS. If you haven't had an email from Leica yet, it's best that you contact them. Well, you probably can't do it now, but you contact me and I could send you an email, but we've got to update the firmware, which I've done, because if you don't update the firmware for some reason or another, the tilt's not going to work. So that's something that was a bit of a shock, but I've managed to get that done so I don't have to worry about it. So many things happening at the end of the year. Tilt compensation, absolute game changer. Yeah, it is. I couldn't go back to using a GPS without tilt. Well, especially just using the bubble. The time it takes you to level that bubble and you know, take the reading. But how accurate is GS18 for boundary marks? Well, it's pretty accurate. And I haven't got, maybe I do. Hang on a second. So I've got this cork here, champagne cork. And I use this champagne cork to educate people who may be using GPS, who don't understand how GPS works, or the accuracy, which is what Jared's asking about, the accuracy here. Well, the horizontal accuracy of a GPS receiver at any one time is within that circle of, say, the champagne cork, which is about, I use one of my trusty rulers, 25 mils. And the vertical accuracy is the length of that champagne cork, which is about 30 mils at any one moment in time. So I guess the thing is, if you want accuracy, there are settings within the controller that you've got to set. There's an instantaneous measurement, or there's a time measurement, or there's an accuracy measurement, or there's a number of readings, depending on what you want. And I always have mine set to accuracy, but I always make a whole bunch of readings on one point and then go away and go do some other observations on other pegs or survey control and come back about 20 minutes to half an hour later once the constellations have moved. Because then you're going to get a new set of constellations, new set of GPS satellites, and then you'll get a new result for that peg, and you'll find that there is, maybe 20 or 30 millimeters, or more than, if we're talking people who do feet and inches, there's like more than an inch difference in the position. So the idea is, I guess the thing is with GPS, it's repeatability. You want to be able to go out at any one moment in time and put your GPS, your GPS receiver on that mark and be within that sort of ballpark all the time. So repeatability is the key. Canada and N-trip services costly as there are no public services, tower services down there. Well, they're pretty good. I use Leica SmartNet, which is global, but in Australia we have a heap of cores, continuously operating reference stations all around the place, and the yearly fee is about just a bit over $2,000, two and a bit $1,000 a year, Australian dollars. But the beauty about the Leica SmartNet is that they give you a program, an online program that you can log into, and you can process data. You can just upload your Rhinex file straight to the program, which is good. So you're getting not only access to the core stations, but you're getting a program to do post-processing, which is really cool. So, but there are other companies in Australia. There's All Day RTK, or what's the other company? Mondo Pin. They're down in Melbourne, and they offer lots of different prices. But yeah, wow, $4,800 a year, and that would be Canadian dollars. Yeah, I think mine was $2,300 or something like that, $2,350 or $2,300. But they give you the SmartNet post-processing software as part of that. But yeah, that is a big difference. I'm not sure what the Australian dollar to Canadian dollar is. One Australian, if I do what you say, 4,800 Canadian. Wow, that's 5,300. So if I do what I'm paying, you would be paying, if I'm paying 2,350, you're paying about 2,100 Canadian, if that's what, yeah, like you say, 5,331, if that's going the other way. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's a lot of money, isn't it? It's got to be worth the money. Sometimes you buy stuff and you often wonder whether you're going to get value for money out of it. And I think I definitely have value for money with the tilt compensation. This was quite expensive too. This is not cheap. It's about 30 grand, something like that, or 26 to 30 grand. A lot of money. But it does save me a lot of time. And I use the GPS a lot for reconnaissance surveys, going and picking up survey marks and looking for survey marks, rather than traversing all the way down the road and around the corner and looking for stuff and not finding anything. I'll use the GPS, hop in the car, go find things. Once I know what I've got, then I go back and use the TS16 to do all the measuring. So, yeah. So it's quite a lot of money being a surveyor. I mean, not only the paying for wages, but actually putting someone on costs a lot of money. Been doing Basin Rover with N-Trip over 4G. Yeah, well, I've spoken to a lot of people. I don't have a Leica base, unfortunately. I have a Topcon where I got my little champagne cork. I've got this one here. This is my old Topcon Hyper 2s, which I used for many years before I bought the Leica, and I'm able to connect my GS18 to the Topcon base. However, it restricts the number of satellites I can use. So it goes from 40 satellites or whatever that you can use with the GS18 down to 14, because the Topcon's only GPS and GLONASS. So, but I would like to get a GS18, but a lot of people I've spoken to have said that they prefer Basin Rover. That gets them more, it's more reliable under canopies and things like that, as opposed to doing N-Trip over 4G. So, do I use GPS for detail? Yes, all the time. And in fact, I was saying earlier today on another live stream that I do a lot of surveys whereby strict accuracy is not, I don't know if that's the right word, but I might survey the back of a property for a swimming pool or a shed or a granny flat or something like that. And the front of the property doesn't need to be surveyed to the nth degree. So therefore what I can do is use the total station to survey the back of the property, the house, the fencing, the boundaries, and I use the front and the GPS to survey the driveway or the street or the trees at the front, you know, just make a detailed site plan that doesn't have to be super accurate. And I say that on my plan, that the information out the front's not to the millimetre, and it's just a really fast way of capturing the data. So, but if you're using GPS out on a big open paddock, you know, huge acreage, you're going to push the pole in the ground. The pole's going to sink this much anyway. So, you know, I don't think you'll ever get that accurate. It's accurate, but you know, there's always going to be little things where the pole might sink into the ground or what have you. And I have to use on my Topcon, I've got this FC5000 controller, and so yeah, that's what I use to, and Magnet Field is the software that I have on that controller. Yeah, well, the Leica GS18 is sort of immune to magnetic disturbances, and it works very well in, there's no drop in satellites anywhere really. Obviously, if you're using a base that doesn't have all the satellites, well, you're going to get a drop in the number, but it's very reliable, really. Even in a city environment, you're still getting plenty of satellites, and it's always constantly checking the results before, you know, it's got this sort of quality assurance check, little green ticks popping up all the time. So yeah, it's a very, very reliable machine. Malaysian surveyor here. Right now we have stable N-trip connection. However, most of the site conditions are pretty challenging. Most of the detail work are done with base and rover connection only. Yeah, well, I've spoken to a lot of people who say that they would prefer base and rover, but I guess the thing is, some instances you don't want to leave a base somewhere, do you? I mean, it's probably okay if it's set up on a building or on top of your car or somewhere where it's not going to be pinched, but yeah. The battery's hot swappable in the Leica, yes. See there? It's a Leica battery. And I'm not sure if, well, I'm sure everyone has been affected somehow about the 3G shutoff. This Leica controller is only a couple of years old, and it's probably hard to see. I don't know how well we can see, but in here it says 3G. Just trying to get it there. No, I can't point to it, but it's a 3.75G modem. And like I said, well, it's not going to work. You know, your GPS is not going to work. So what I've had to do is put my SIM card into here, and I have to put a special aerial 4G aerial here now, and that's how I get my things. So I don't know where I was going to with that, but oh, that was just something that I'd thought about with the Hot swappable batteries. Have you ever had someone steal or break equipment while on the job? Thankfully, no stealing. I've had someone break my brush hook that I was using to clear a line, and the client thought that they'd help me by doing it for me, and they gave it a good whack and broke my brush hook. It's got a big sort of Grim Reaper hook thing on there. But I've been pretty lucky in terms of survey gear not being pinched or stolen, and nothing out the back of my car, which is pretty good. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. But obviously you've got to have everything insured. You know, it's and that costs a lot of money per year. You know, it could be well, that's several $1,000s a year just in insurance. You know, so yeah. I had something else written down here that I was going to chat about. I want to put a post up for anyone who may be in Australia, someone who might be have someone who might want to. I'm going to put this up here. I'll answer your question first, Jared. Have you ever had someone? Have you ever required police escort for a job? No. Whereabouts are you coming from, Jared? What part of the world are you in? Australia or in overseas? I mean, Australia, we don't really. We're pretty good, you know. We don't. You know, it's a pretty safe country. We don't. Oh, you're from Perth. Yeah, well, no, I haven't. I can understand where you're coming from because sometimes people don't like you on your property. I mean, I do have a special little card as a registered surveyor to say, you know, that I'm allowed to enter for the purpose of undertaking a survey. But you're supposed to give people a warning that you're going to come on, and if they don't want you on there, well, then maybe you shouldn't force your way on there. But I've never needed a police escort for a job, no. I'm just going to post this link here. This is in Australia. We have a consulting surveyors or a Surveyors Australia. It's like a body, sort of like a professional organisation that surveyors belong to, and they've got a new thing called the Surveyors Academy, which is another alternative to university or TAFE, and we're trying to encourage people to maybe study surveying that way, because there's a massive shortage of surveyors in Australia. So yeah, that was another thing I wanted to put up there. Where we got to? Okay. Yep. I've never understood the shortage. It's a great job. Yeah, well, that's it. It's I don't understand why there's such a shortage. Well, I do understand why there is a shortage, and the reason being is that there are a lot of, it's an old profession, and there are a lot of older surveyors that are actually just packing up their theodolites and going fishing, you know. So we're trying to encourage more people to join, and it's quite hard to get registered as a surveyor. You know, you've got to have a uni degree to start with. So yeah. So another way of getting into surveying, if you don't really have the if you don't really want to go the university route to start with, is doing maybe a diploma of surveying, and then from there you can work your way up. I'll just check something. Okay. So I haven't, firstly, I just want to say thanks for everyone for coming on. I haven't really undertaken many live streams on my channel, and it's sort of a new thing for me, so I'm sort of still learning the skills of running a live stream, and I'm not in a position yet to start sharing my screen and other things with you, but I'd love to be able to share things, you know, on the screen at the same time. So I'm still learning, but hopefully in 2025 I'll be able to do a few more live streams and sort of make it maybe a weekly or 2 weekly sort of event, so it gives everyone a chance to come along and say good day. Where I'm at changed from being a college diploma to a 4-year university degree with no real yeah, well that's right. The wages for surveying, or working for myself, wages are good. I won't deny that, but yeah, it was always a university. Well, it was never a university degree back in the 1960s. It was kind of like an apprenticeship sort of thing, a thing called an archeological system, whereby you worked for a surveyor, an old surveyor, and they taught you everything they knew, and then you sat some exams, and if they thought you were, if you passed your exams, I'm not sure who ran those exams, but if you passed those exams and you were competent, then you could then apply for surveying registration, and then you could, so it was a different thing. And then I think in the early to late 60s I had the university degree in Sydney and throughout Australia, and that's the way now. If you want to be registered and actually sign documents and sign plans, you have to be a registered surveyor, which is what I am, and thankfully I am, because it enables me to work for myself. You can see the old theodolite there. That's a Troughton and Sims Vernier theodolite, and one day I'll try and make a video to show you, but the image is actually upside down, so when you look, everything is upside down, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so I'll try and make a video about that. I've got another interesting thing. There's a spring balance, and you would connect that to your tape measure, and surveyor or the assistant would be pulling this, and you'd be pulling it not only because a steel band, you'd be pulling it so that the steel band would, like if you were holding the steel band above the ground, you'd pull it to enable the catenary, the roundness, to level up. And for temperature too, you'd have to pull it at a certain tension. I think this one's in pounds. 30 pounds. I think that would be just almost impossible. I don't think you could pull 30 pounds, but it's got 30 pounds on there. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. Spring balance. So I just, as part of some of the old survey gear that I inherited from my old boss before I went out on my own. Yeah, they did use chains, and the chain was about 20 centimetres, 0.2 was about, or sorry, not the chain was 100 links. 100 links is about 66 feet, which is in metric 20.117, but each link in the chain, a link, I can tell you what a link is. It's 0.201 or 20 point, I'll get my, if I can get my thing. It's about that long between my fingers, each link. So yeah, 100 links in a chain, and a chain was 66 feet or 20.117 meters long. So yeah, 1168 exactly. And so therefore, the if they were measuring, you know, from bit to bit to bit, you could see how the error, they had to be so careful that the error didn't compound, because, you know, if you're measuring for such a long distance, it's going to, you know, I'm sure there's going to be little incremental sort of errors along the way. But I've measured between some old survey marks that were put in, you know, in the 1800s, and surprisingly, there were definitely difference in distance, because obviously they couldn't measure as well back then, but not much. And some really long and steep and challenging areas, and you think, goodness me, how the devil did they do that? But they did it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I don't actually have an old chain. I've got to try and ask my old boss if he's got one of those, because I'd really like to add one to the collection. Seeing some of the areas in wilderness here is amazing. Some of the places they got to. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I'd love to go back in time, and I'd love to make a video. I think that would be a pretty cool thing, making a video with using that. And you can see here's a sighting pole there too, and that's got a plumb bob hanging underneath, and that, you know, obviously the spike on top that you'd read to. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I showed some people earlier on the live stream. I've got these old survey pegs. This peg here is from the 1960s. I rescued it because I put a new one in. Obviously I couldn't I found the peg, but I couldn't stick a nail in the top. So that's an old peg. And I've got another old peg here. Oh, I use them as paperweights almost. Got this old peg here. And it's got a little triangle cut here. It would have had two others. I think the other cuts are here, but how well you can see the little cut there. But that's a big peg. I rescued this one because it was lying on the ground, and someone had pulled it out, so it was of no use to anyone really. But that's an old peg. That's about I think nearly 100 years old, this one. And the groovy thing was, when I found it, I don't know how well you can see, there's a casing for a bullet. I don't know how that got there, because obviously the bullet itself would have gone elsewhere, but I don't know why someone would have pushed the case of the bullet in there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So I like to collect a lot of old survey gear, and I'll make a video of some of the old. Well, I have got some. I do have some videos on the channel of some of the old wild. And I know I say wild, and if you were in Switzerland, you'd say it differently, but wild or something like that. But I've got a wild T1, a T1A, a T2. I've got a Zeiss. I can't grab them all because they're sitting here, but I've got this. This is a Zeiss Ni2. I'll undo this little thing here and I'll explain. There, Zeiss Ni2. And on here is what they call a parallel plate micrometer. And what it does is when you're leveling, you're normally reading to a staff that's graduated to, well, in Australia, 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter graduations. But this is actually breaking up. You need a special staff, but you can break up that graduation into parts. Yeah, with micrometer, yeah. Parallel plate micrometer. And I must admit I did use it once, and it's quite awkward to use, really. It's not an easy thing to use. It's kind of like using the Wild T2. It's just so precise that, I think if you were using it all the time, you might be an expert. But yeah, I'm not an expert at that. But I love collecting old survey gear. So I'm looking at some of the old survey gear now here, but I've got them sitting on little boxes and things like that. So I might make a video about that and show you sometime. Okay. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, so this is probably going to be the last live stream I do for the year, but I'd like to do more. And I'm glad that I'm sort of chatting to a few people now that are from different parts of, some people in Australia, Canada, other parts of the world. So it's good. It seems to be a good time. I wasn't really sure the best time, although I'd love to do a live stream when I'm out in the field, and that may work for some people, and I might try and do that at some stage, but it's hard to sort of find a time that everyone can be on to watch. But I've got quite a few, just looking at the videos that I've got quite a few videos from or just that I've uploaded in the last 6 months. I went to Europe, and I went to Italy and to Greece and to Malta and to Marseille and Barcelona and other parts of the Mediterranean, and I made quite a few little videos on different types of survey marks, so that's pretty cool. But I'd love, obviously I'm not going to be able to get to Canada, well, maybe one day, and other parts of the world. So one thing I'm thinking about trying to do in 2025 would be to, and obviously be happy to give credit where credit is due. If someone wanted to make a short video about a particular survey mark that they've found in their own country or their own neighbourhood, and they wanted to share it on the channel, I'd be more than happy to do that. So we might be able to arrange a way of getting a video made and then showing it on the channel as just another way of showcasing surveying. So that was one of the things I had written down here. And another thing I have written down is, and I'll just try and find the video for that. I'll just do it now. I've got an idea to, here we go. Just copy that and paste it to the live stream. There's a link to a YouTube video. And I've got an idea for next year called Save a Survey Mark Day. We have survey marks in Australia called SSMs, or State Survey Marks. And it just happened that the SSM is the same as Save a Survey Mark. And so my idea is that hopefully we can get enough surveyors worldwide to, on a day that is going to work, that we go out and save survey marks. You may just go in your local area and find a survey mark that needs some love and attention, maybe a coat of paint, or if you can dig up the survey mark and we can put a special cover box over the mark, that would be pretty cool. In Australia, I know that the longest time, the biggest amount of time is spent with a survey is looking for survey marks, and that's the biggest problem for. And if the mark, like where I live in suburbia, there are survey marks all over the curb and gutter, like in this video that I've just posted. You'll see similar sort of street to where I live, and there's survey marks on the curb and gutter, but there are places where the boundary marks that are buried under the ground or under the grass, and you have to keep digging them up all the time. Now, if we could place a little steel cover box over the top of all these marks, that would be great, because then it would just save heaps of time. The next surveyor would come along and go, oh, it's like a hydrant. The firefighters know exactly where to go to find the hydrants. The telecom people and the electrical people know where to go to find their service box. Well, why can't the surveyor have their own service box, for the survey mark? So that's my idea, and we're just trying to sort of brainstorming that with a few people at the moment, and hopefully have a day called Save a Survey Mark Day. And I'm hoping that the local government can get on board. They do have these steel cover boxes for certain survey marks, but they don't necessarily place them over the top of survey marks that are we have galvanized iron pipes, like a round pipe, this long, buried under the ground, coordinated to the corner, or we have a concrete block with a steel pin in the top. And so it's sort of, if we could have a cover box over these marks, it'd save you having to dig a hole. You'd know exactly where to go, and I'm sure you'd have to get a plan, and you still got to measure to the mark, etc. But just by having the mark there available, that the amount of time that saves you, I could spend probably an hour sometimes looking for survey marks before I even start doing the survey. Yeah, well, see, photos is a great idea too. There is an app, and I'll share this app too. I'm sure the person who developed the app won't mind. I'm just going to. It's a guy in Brisbane. Here we go. I'm just going to share the link to the website, and here we go. This guy, I've got it. The app is called Benchmark, and the guy who developed this app has said that he's on board with this idea of Save a Survey Mark Day, and he's got the idea whereby we could upload every survey mark you find, you could upload that to the app, and then surveyors can use that app and go, oh, there's a survey mark there, you know, for ones that happen to be buried under the ground. And you might be able to use your GPS. Okay, so Mark's just posted something. I'm just going to show that, Mark, because YouTube wanted to hold that on review. Oops. There you go. Which is okay, I think. The link that you sent through, Mark, I'm not sure whether that's come up. It's not popping up on my all messages. There it is. Thanks for that. Yeah, the just quickly getting back to this app, it's the guy who's developed the app is encouraging people to upload their information. So not only are there survey marks, he says it's worldwide. I haven't investigated that, but I'd love to see, you know, who knows, it could be worldwide. But the idea is that if you've got survey marks and they're freely available, well, the thing is you don't want everyone digging up the survey mark. But I think that if we could have a cover box to start with, people don't look in hydrant boxes or telephone boxes, electrical boxes. People don't do that normally, you know, but we don't want people digging up people's lawns. But if a box can be placed over something and prevents the lawn being dug up, because the thing is, I might dig up a survey mark today and then put the dirt back over the top, and you know, in 3 months' time, the grass has sort of grown back over, and the lawn doesn't look like it's been dug up, and we try and make it as nice as possible. But then all of a sudden, a next surveyor comes along and starts to dig it up again, so the grass really hasn't had a chance to recover. And you know, I know that the land in which the survey mark is sitting is not actually the land that is owned by the person, because there's that strip of land, the nature strip, that belongs to the local council, so it doesn't actually belong to the person. But it would be nice if we didn't have to keep digging up lawns and things like that. So that's where I'm hoping we can get some survey marks, like boxes over the local marks. So yeah. Okie dokie. So yeah, if you've got, if anyone's got any ideas for videos, I'm all ears. And if you can't think of one now, you know, you're welcome to place a comment in one of the videos, or send me a message if you can do that through the channel. And I'd be happy to and if I can make the video based on your idea, I'd be happy to give you some credit for it as well, which would be pretty cool. I'll give you a bit of a plug if you've got a business or something like that. Always looking to plug survey gear or test out survey gear too. I mean, I think if everyone could do that, it's pretty cool. I haven't had the opportunity as such. I was asked by Leica in Australia to attend the Hexagon Live conference, which is happening next year in Vegas in 2025, Las Vegas. And they wanted me to make a speech or a talk only for 10 minutes. I mean, I've been on here for 60 minutes now, so easily could probably do it. But and the idea was that if I could come up with something to talk about, and I think they wanted to talk about Leica related, so it could be, you know, it could be to do with the GS18, or I don't actually have it in here in the office, but it's in my car. I've got the auto pole, the AP20 auto pole. So you know that's the pole that or the device that sits on top of the pole, and therefore, you know, your pole acts like a tilt compensation as well. And if I could do that, they believe it or not, could give me all expenses paid, like the airfares, the accommodation, and the entrance to the conference. But I've just got a few things happening, and it was in June, I think, of next year, so it was just a little bit awkward for me to go. So I'm hoping to go in about 2 years' time, and I'm hoping by that stage my channel has grown a bit more too. So yeah. Hi Monkey, thanks for tuning in. That's greatly appreciated. So yeah, I think I've pretty much covered most of the topics that I'd written down. I think I'm learning from others that that's something I've got to do, is write down a few topics before I come on, rather than just talk for all this time and not say anything. So going to Geo Week in Denver, yeah. Well, I've never heard of Geo Week before, but I must admit I do go to conferences every year. I have to, as part of being a registered surveyor. You've got to get points and go to some of these conferences, but not so much the ones that are conferences for instruments and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd like to. There are a few conferences. I suppose I'm sort of getting to the stage whereby, you know, I've been doing surveying for 30 years now, believe it or not. 30 years, long time. 1994 I started, so I still enjoy surveying, but I'm sort of, and I don't want to become a teacher of surveying, but I'd like to share things through my channel. So that's sort of an idea that I'm having, and still work as a surveyor, but sort of just pick and choose the type of jobs I want to do. And if I could make a living making videos about surveying, that would be pretty cool. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. Yeah, this is my office. As you can see here, I've got my two old bits of survey gear there, and I have some old paddles, oars on the wall there as well. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've got a drone, although I don't use the drone to its full capacity. I used to use it quite a lot in the day. I've got a DJI Mavic Pro. It's the original Mavic Pro, so I guess it's version number 1. So it's a few years old now. And I used to have an app that allowed me to fly a grid and you know, stitch a whole bunch of photos together. But I didn't really use it to generate sort of a LiDAR type or contour thing. So yeah, and I kind of I know drones and scanning seem to be the you know, are the two sort of survey technologies that are sort of taking off quite a bit. But yeah. So, am I excited for Christmas? Yeah, I've still got a few plans to draw. So, I had a bit of a go at it this afternoon after the live stream that was around about lunchtime today. But I think I'm going to have to get up early tomorrow and knuckle down and just try and get something finished. One of the jobs, the client's not really in a screaming hurry, but the other client is. So I've only got one more day left. most of my surveying friends are all on holidays now, so yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but thanks, Monkey. I appreciate all the subs that anyone who wants to sub to the channel. Yeah, I'm hoping to. Well, I'd really like to grow my channel to 1,000 subs, which is sort of what YouTube requires for to get that greater sort of exposure and various things like that. So I'm almost there. I've got another. How many have we got now? 961, I think. I'm not sure 100%, but yeah, I appreciate all the 963. Gee, that's pretty cool. What advice would you have for setting out engineer, starting out now, setting out engineer? As in, I guess, survey set out. Well, you probably want to get yourself a good robotic total station for setting out stuff, and obviously good survey control is always a good thing too. That's making sure that you've got survey control right to begin with. Yes, the TS16 is fantastic, and I use a little. I don't have them on me here, but the little reflective targets. Do I have any? I don't have any to show you. Well, everyone probably knows what the reflective targets are, but you want to make sure that you have those set up, and they don't want to all be jammed in one spot. They want to be sort of nicely, evenly spread about the site, and once you've read to those, and you can do a resection or free station using the Leica TS16, and you're good to go. And it's easy. Then once you can set up anywhere on site. You don't actually have to be set up on a peg. You could just set your instrument up there, read, let it calculate, and off you go. And it's fast. It's really, really fast. Once you've got the control done first and right to begin with, yeah. Lila, can I have a shout out? Hi, Lila. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. And thanks for Monkey. Monkey and Lila. Thank you. Yeah, but the TS16 is just an absolutely fantastic total station, and you'd use your CS20 controller maybe to control it, and I've got the Leica AP20 auto pole, but I don't use it for set out because I just find that the tilt is it's not it's good, but it's not as reliable as just using I mean I've got a prism here, and I sometimes place that on top of the pole, but I've got other types of prisms, but I normally go straight on I've got like the mini prism type little pole here, and I go straight on the ground basically. I don't have the prism here on me, but you've got a book called Setting Out for Construction. Yeah, well, back in the old day, and I say old days, back in the 90s when I was working for a surveyor, what we used to do was we'd mark out, like a building might have grid lines, like a set of grids going one way and another set of grids being square. And we'd peg all the grids A, B, C, D, E, F, G or whatever in a straight line, and then we'd set up on each grid and turn 90 degrees and then put the pegs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way, and you do it all, all the intersections, yeah, and it's quite a long time. I think that's still a very good way of doing it. And maybe on some building sites, they like all those pegs placed. And I do that when I'm pegging out, say, a swimming pool or a granny flat maybe. It might not be grids, but it will still be, you'll still have two pegs either end of the building and two pegs at either end. And check out some of my videos. I've got some videos on how I set out a house or a swimming pool. But yeah, sometimes I don't do that anymore. Like I don't necessarily place a peg and just go peg, 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 and then set the instrument up on every single peg. Sometimes you have the instrument set in one position and you're walking around with your prism and you're putting in the pegs that way, as opposed to having your instrument set on the peg and you're looking along a line. But I think if you're doing it that way, you want to make sure that you read it maybe multiple times or from another position just to double check. Yeah, I think the old way of doing survey is still relevant today. It's still important to understand how to do it properly. Unfortunately, we've got all this great gear that allows us to do things. It allows us to do things a little bit faster and maybe, well, it's still accurate, but it's not as traditional, so to speak. Yeah, foundation guys here use batter boards to set 10 to 12 feet from the basement to be dug out. Yeah, well, that's right. People, or I'm not sure if what they call them here, profiles. I think it's like a two posts and a crossbar profile, and sometimes people place a nail in the top of the profile, and when you measure to that, you'll get an exact distance. So it might not be necessarily set at 10 or 12 feet. It could be set at 1.2 meters, or it could be, you might have a peg placed in the ground at 5 meters from the corner, and then you place your profile there and maybe put a pin on top as a way, because the concreter or the form worker, that they're still going to measure from those marks that you put in. So yeah, I must admit I don't do much in the way of large scale construction set out anymore. I still peg out swimming pools and sheds and homes, like, small home sort of thing, but I don't do large scale construction work. So I'm sort of a bit tired of doing that. That in my early days, that's all I did was that type of work, and I never got to go out and look for all these old survey marks like I do now. And I think that's the thing. If I could make a living just looking for old survey marks, it's definitely what I do. So yeah. But yeah, check out some of the videos that I've got about, or the types of survey marks that I've put in for. It's sometimes a bit hard to film the whole thing from start to finish, because otherwise it'd be a real big production. And I'm not Steven Spielberg. A lot of the time I just get my phone and hold it there. I do have a 360 degree camera, which I've shown in a few of my videos, and that captures everything. So therefore I don't have to worry about I don't really have to worry about what I'm videoing, so yeah, it just captures everything, and then later on I can just come back and post-process what I've videoed. So it's got, where are you, Exeldone? You're overseas? I mean, obviously overseas, but are you Where are you based? Based in the UK, cool. So we've got UK, Canada, and parts of Australia, which is pretty cool. So I'm glad this is sort of a pretty good time because it may not be the most ideal time for everyone, but some of you are maybe middle of the day, some of you early in the morning. To me, it's nearly 10:30 at night here in Australia, Sydney. So yeah, the 360 cameras are getting a global reach. That's right, Mark. I appreciate you being here. That's great. The 360 camera is cool. Yeah, I was a little bit hesitant to buy that. I really wanted to buy a GoPro at the time, and I haven't got a GoPro, but I bought this Insta 360 degree camera, and I just let it go. I turn it on, and I just capture everything, and then go, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll shoot that or whatever. I think one thing I'd like to buy is a better microphone. I mean, I'm just talking into my phone here at the moment, set up on my desk, but I'd like to get a better microphone for walking around in the field, and that way I won't have to yell as much, I guess. And I believe some of the DJI microphones, like the DJI Mini, I think, you can, well, I looked at the DJI Osmo. The DJI mic, I think you could set it up. On one of my other videos that I posted, I posted a while ago, but I reposted. It's about surveying a retaining wall. And you might notice that the camera's following me around. I'm walking all over the street. Well, I actually had the camera mounted to the top of the TS16 with a little tripod, and the legs they could sort of wrap around the top of the TS16 handle, which is pretty cool. So wherever I walked, the TS16 would move, and it was following me around. But the DJI mic, I think you can get about 400 meters of range, and that would be pretty cool. I could have the camera set up on the total station, but I could be walking down the road or something and explaining what I'm doing and be, a couple of 100 meters away, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I haven't tried it. Well, I don't have one, but that's what they claim. And there's a lot of videos out there about the DJI mic. So I think that would be something I'm looking at getting in the new year. I guess we've all got to start out with something and progress to other things. It also records on board the mic itself. Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and I know that DJI have got a Osmo Action 5, which is their latest sort of camera that sort of rivals the GoPro. And the great thing is that mic will connect with Bluetooth, like a long-range Bluetooth, to that camera without having to plug the camera in. Whereas if I want the DJI Mini to, say, connect to my phone, there's a little plug that I have to put in the bottom of the phone. But the mic itself will connect via Bluetooth to that camera, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you might if I can get some new camera gear, that would be pretty cool. But for the time being, I'm just still using my iPhone. It seems to work pretty well. Oh, and the DJI and the Insta 360 X3 is what I've got for my 360 degree videos. So but it is quite difficult to video surveying and work at the same time. So I'm trying to capture things. I think the neck, I've got this sort of neck kind of like a necklace with a magnetic mount on it, and that's what I'm using for the Insta360. It's called a Tellison. I don't know if I can show you a Tellison mount. I can't find it. It's a special mount anyway, but it's a sort of a neck. It's a neck. It's a sort of a groovy sort of thing that goes around your neck, kind of like a necklace. But it has a mount for the GoPro or for your camera or for any type of camera. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd really like to get this DJI mic. It's not that expensive, I don't think. I think it's about a bit over $100 for the mic mini here. I think, yeah. It's a bit over $100. It's $120 from the DJI store, so that's not too bad. All for the love of surveying, I guess. So, but yeah. So, like, if you've got any ideas, or if you'd love something you think about that you'd like to talk about, and I'm quite happy to make a video about a particular sort of thing. Yeah, feel free just to contact me through the channel. That would be great, and I'll do that. And I've got a few. I had someone earlier on, Mickey, was giving me some survey jokes. Something that said, why do surveyors make terrible comedians? And that's because their jokes are always too measured. Well, not really a joke, but I put a little thing on my HP 41. I don't know if anyone still uses. This is an old one. I got this. My old boss gave it to me. Works really, really well. I use it for all my calculations that I'm not using the CAD software for. But if you go 10.101 and you 10.101 and you go 25 divide and turn it upside down, you get ho ho ho. It's a bit of a Christmas joke. Although the 4, it's interesting because on the calculator the 4 is not a solid, not a solid 4 like some of the other calculators show, like for argument's sake on your phone. So I prefer that. And actually the battery on the calculator disappeared the other day. Well, it died. And when I went to replace the battery, it said memory lost. And I have a couple of programs on there. I've got a close program where you just put in bearing, distance, unknown, unknown distance, unknown bearing or whatever, and it can calculate the misclose, which is a standard survey thing. And it's got a few other things on there, but yeah, I still use calculator. I think it's still part of the arsenal. I've got a Hewlett-Packard 48G with a program called Quick Close on there, but it doesn't work as well anymore, so that's my go-to calculator. So yeah, so I think we've pretty much covered everything I needed to say tonight. We've been on here for nearly an hour and a half. I don't know if there's anything anyone else would like to discuss before I decide to wrap it up for the night. I've been on here twice already today, so it's been a bit of a marathon for me. I don't normally come on for this long, so. But I would imagine that everyone's finished for the year, perhaps. Or is anyone still working for the next day or two? For one of my projects is to do Python code for T184 for survey programs. Yeah, well, I think with the ChatGPT, I think it's quite easy to write Python code for survey programs. I'm sure I've processing the last of the drone LiDAR for the job. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I suppose it's a different time over there. What time is it where you are, Mark? It's 10:30 here at night. It's probably early. Did you say early in the morning where you are? You're working early. Some people get up early, quite early, to do all this sort of stuff. But I don't know if anyone's dabbled in ChatGPT. 6:30 in the morning. It's not too bad. I probably would like to start getting up a little bit early too. I might have to tomorrow to try and get these last couple of jobs done. But I have tried to use ChatGPT a few times to try and write some code for things, but I'd love to. I mean, you ask it things and it writes things very quickly. It's crazy. So whether it's 100% correct, I don't know, but I think my vision for ChatGPT, the idea would be is if you could process your survey data and the whole plan's drawn from start to finish, like you'd have to give it all the instructions on how you want the plan to be drawn. And if it could do that would, we'd do a survey and within about half an hour the whole plan's drawn and done and ready to go. I mean, everyone has certain ways that they like their plans to be drawn, so I haven't been able to. I'd love if you could have a GPT that you could just train as like a personal assistant, or it's kind of like that. But you could just train the assistant, this GPT or whatever, to actually, or AI, to draw the plans for you. That would be pretty cool. So, yeah, well, that's it. I mean, everyone's got their own way of drawing plans, you know, whether they have colours or they don't have colours, or they have font, or like a lot of the survey plans, you have a lot of spot heights, you know, like if you've done a detailed survey and the point is placed here, but you might want it twisted round, or you might want to move this way, or you might want the font a certain height. So, yeah, I'd love to be able to. I guess it's like having someone come into your office and telling them, "Here, this is how I like to draw my plans. Follow that idea." You know, if you could upload the plan and it could study the colours and the font and the way you do things, gee, That's what I'd love for it to do, but I don't know if we're there yet. We're getting there though, but I don't know which AI we use to do that, you know, whether they can read the you know, I'm using BricsCAD, so I'm just not sure how you get the AI to read the way you do it. I'm not sure, but it would be good. Yeah, well, that's true, Ryan. Not so great for employees. That's absolutely true. I find a lot of the guys that I went to university with are becoming managers in survey firms, and they don't even go out in the office anymore. So they don't understand how to use survey gear, and you know, they probably understand what's required, but they don't get their hands dirty anymore. And that's definitely something I'm not going to be doing. I'm still out in the field. I'm not going to be a manager in an office, but I can see where the GPT, you know, the AI, if it could take a draftsperson's job away, well, that's not a good thing. I don't want that, obviously, but I guess for me, as a one-person business, it would be a way that I might be able to speed up a few things, you know. I have written some, well, not me personally, I've actually got ChatGPT to do this for me, some Lisp routines, and I've loaded them into my CAD program. So it one of them is changing the colors of like going through all the layers and saying any layer that's brown, say, change it to white or something like that. You know, like I've just a simple Lisp routine, but for me to physically go through all the layers and turn every color to white that's brown or something, it may have come straight out, it might be a DXF that's come out from my survey program into AutoCAD and the colors aren't correct. So it's just little things like that are saving time. So yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks for tuning and really appreciate you being here. I will be going very soon myself because I've been on here for an hour and a half and it's getting a bit late here, but I appreciate your time and thanks again and look forward to chatting with you soon. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how AI in surveying plays a role, and be interesting to see. Well, I think I might go, everyone. I think I've been on here for 94 minutes, so it's been a long time, and we've had a pretty good chat about quite a few things, which is good. And I guess what I'd like to say is if you've got any ideas about surveying videos, anything, doesn't matter if it sounds crazy or not. I don't know if I'll do Mr. Beast crazy, like, you know, put 100 surveyors in a room and everyone holds on to a total station and the last person to let go of the total station wins a total station or something like that, you know, some crazy thing like what Mr. Beast does. But no, just you know, if you've got an idea for a video or something that you think might be interesting, yeah, let me know, and just send me a message either on the video or through the just contact me directly through the channel, and if I can make the video, I'm happy to give you some credit towards it, like, so-and-so suggested this video, blah, 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 and yeah, it'd be pretty cool. And I'm always looking for ideas to talk about too. I tried to write a few little things down today, but I'll be a little bit more prepared next time. But again, I haven't done these live streams very much in the whole time that I've had my channel, and so I'm trying to grow the channel. Currently at 964 subscribers, so we're almost at 1,000, which is cool, and hopefully I'll be able to get well, the goal is to get 1,000. I guess that's what every YouTuber likes, 1,000 subscribers and 3,000 or 4,000 watch hours to start with. And then once I can start monetizing the channel, I can start to get it growing, then I can start to do some really cool things. And yeah, the idea with the channel is just pretty much to promote surveying. And in Australia, we've got such a shortage of surveyors, and probably around the world, so it's just trying to encourage young kids to get into surveying, which is a cool thing, because as you know, it's not only good for your brain, but it's good for your mental health and physical health, and you're not stuck in an office all the time. The office is out in the scrub, so yeah. Okay, everyone, well, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. I'll let everyone get back to what they were doing before they gave up their time to come and listen to me ramble on for an hour and a half. But thanks heaps. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I will wish everyone a great Christmas and a new year, and hopefully see you on the next video, which hopefully over Christmas time I'm just going to make a few little videos in my travels, but I'll be kicking off early in the new year with some more videos and interesting things, and maybe a live stream in the new year. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.